What's up, everyone? Hope your day is going well so far. It's been another one of those days where there is not a whole lot going on in terms of ADA price, not a whole lot going on in the crypto market in general, but I tend to watch things very closely. And we've seen a very distinct shift when it comes to ADA open interest. And this has been very important in the past for some of these pumps that we have seen. And I want to talk about that with you guys. We're actually on the verge of a very important weekly close. Obviously, we're a few days away from that, but I do want to talk about this. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. It's been growing like crazy, and it's all because of you guys. So yes, ADA has been red today. Pretty much everything has been red. Not red in a big way, but kind of one of those where we've pretty much just been floating around between 59 to 60 cents, just kind of riding the wave, not making much in terms of progress. It's been a lower volume day overall. And what we could have seen this week could have been pretty ugly. I think we can all agree to that, right? We could have seen a lot of retail capitulation, a lot of people freaking out. The markets just continued dropping. But as the week has progressed and we are now closing in on the end of the week, the sentiment is starting to shift just a little bit. Why I'm saying that is I look very closely at all these different metrics, all these different technical pieces of data. And one thing that I've seen in the past, right before we have started to make some upside moves, is shifts in open interest. And what we've actually seen from the start of the week to the late of the week, or to the later part of the week, is a pretty dramatic shift in ADA. We were on the bearish side of things, and in fact, we have just returned to balance. We are now currently sitting at a 1.0 long to short ratio. Now, what this is showing us is that the market has uncertainty, but it's more so uncertain about what direction things are headed, not uncertain about the news, about things potentially getting worse. Could things get worse? Absolutely, right? We could definitely get some negative news that causes the markets to start falling again. But even as this week has progressed and things have happened, overseas, and there's still bombing going on and all that stuff, the market hasn't really been reacting to that. We've also seen this shift take place in terms of something like Shiba Inu, which I talk about here on the channel, obviously every single day, a 1.06 ratio. That's one of the highest long to short ratios I've seen for Shiba Inu in recent term. But really, BTC, Ethereum, and BNB are kind of the only ones that are still hanging around on that negative side. So the market has reached actually a very good point of stability and conviction where we're at now. Now, what I will say is that we've also seen ADA kind of fall back into one of these open interest compression points. Basically, there's big long interest down below these current prices. There's big open interest above here. And what we're seeing is that actually between 60 to 65 cents, there's a huge concentration of short interest, meaning that if we get a little bit of spark in the market, if there's enough volume, you could see ADA run into the mid 60s this week still. Not saying that's happening for sure, but the table is basically set for us to make some volatile moves. And it's a question of, do we have enough to push us one way or the other? And this goes for ADA, this goes for other assets as well. In the same breath, this also means that if we get some more negative things, that the news isn't that great, we could in fact see ADA fall into the 50s, right? Further into the 50s, all right? So what I will say here is, we've had a pretty good setup in the back half of the week. The market has calmed down. It's a little bit more relaxed. It's a little bit less reactionary. And what I will say is that we do have a very important weekly close ahead of us for ADA, because we are actually staring dead in the face of our 100-week moving average. This currently sits at about 61.67 in terms of price. And that's not a very far move for ADA to make. That's about 3%, something that could be actually tackled in just a matter of a day or so, less than a day. And why this is so important is, we need to hold some of these supports on the weekly time frame. If we are not closing weekly candles above these, we can in fact see more bleed in terms of price. You can see sentiment still continue to the negative side, okay? So this is in fact a pretty important week. Even though things have been very quiet, there hasn't been a whole lot of news, no real major changes in monetary policy, at least here in the US. It's still important from a structural standpoint that we make up just a little bit of ground here. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear what you think this means. Do you think that we're actually about to see a little bit of a shift in the market? Are we going to start to see some more green, especially as we get into the weekend? But I appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Share your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.